Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Roll call? Yeah. Here.
Here.
Yes.
Yes.
And it looks like we have a special presentation from the Hillcrest Center for the Arts, one of my favorite things, and it looks like it's going to be Megan. Please.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Cusworth, members of the board and staff. I'm Megan McDonough, coordinator for the cultural unit, and with me tonight is our supervisor, Brianne Anderson. Tonight, it is my privilege to tell you about what the cultural unit is up to for summer 2026. As one of the special units and the hub of arts activity in the Conejo Valley, we have many different activities, and it's hard to know where to begin. So I'm simply going to start with the 38th annual Conejo Valley Summer Music Camp. Open to young musicians age 8 to 16 with at least 1 year's experience playing their instrument. The Conejo Valley Summer Music Camp is an intensive 2-week program available in 2 separate sessions. Session 1 runs July 6th to the 17th, and Session 2, July 20th to the 31st. Led by longtime Conejo Valley youth music scene fixture Janine Del Huarte, this camp includes instruction in strings and band, as well as guest musicians, instrument manufacturers, and a final performance for friends and family. All instruments are welcome, and for those who want even more, Ms. Del Huarte offers after-camp workshops in jazz improvisation. This camp takes place in multiple rooms at Los Cerritos Middle School. Last summer, we hosted a total of 194 kids in Conejo Valley Summer Music Camp, and we hope to see even more this year. Here at the Hillcrest Center for the Arts, the cultural unit will hold 7 more 1-week summer enrichment camps, each taught by Off the Beaten Track Productions. The unit will also offer a number of exciting arts classes for youth and adults, including colored pencils, digital photography, ballet, ballroom dance, tai chi, yoga, Pilates, silver and fit, and even a restorative sound bath. Last summer, we hosted well over 300 students, and we have an ambitious schedule geared towards raising that number even higher this year. In the theater this June, we will present the culmination of our acting and a production class taught by Gold Coast Theater Conservatory. This summer show is entitled The Crow Heist. The class of 24 began working on the production back in February and meets every Sunday in our small rehearsal room until the May Young Artist Ensemble production of Cinderella closes. Then they hop into the theater, make some small adjustments to the Cinderella set, and show off all their hard work. In the HCFA Hallway Gallery, from June 12th through August 4th, the Arts Council of the Conejo Valley will curate the 2026 Summer Open Show. Our partnership with the Arts Council of the Conejo Valley includes hanging each of the gallery shows and hosting each show's reception. The Summer Open Show is open to artists 18 and older living in the greater Conejo Valley area. Artists can submit up to 2 pieces with their entry fee of $45 and have their work competitively adjudicated and displayed for the community all summer. Of course, while all that's going on, we will also be working on Hillcrest Players Broadway Musical Summer Camp's performances of Annie Jr. Directed by Frank LaGuardia, the Broadway Musical Summer Camp has been one of our most explosively successful programs. Growing from what seemed like a good-sized group of 30 kids in the summer of 2005, this camp, 21 years later, now 2 camps, featured over 200 kids last summer and sold a whopping 2,413 tickets. Camp registration just opened March 2nd, and the younger camp filled in just 3 minutes. Kids age 6 to 16 work for 4 weeks to stage an incredible production in the Newbury Park High School Performing Arts Center. Mr. LaGuardia is assisted by adult counselors, junior counselors, music directors, choreographers, parent volunteers, musicians, and technicians in giving the participants a summer theater experience they will never forget. Performances for the younger camp, ages 6 to 11, will take place July 18th and 19th. And performances for the older camp for ages 11 to 16 will be July 24th, 25th, and 26th. Which brings us to the crown jewel of our summer, the 46th annual Teen Summer Musical, Chicago Teen Edition. Open to performers aged 13 to 19, the Teen Summer Musical Odyssey kicks off with auditions for both actors and musicians on May 30th and 31st. The standouts from auditions will be invited back to callbacks June 1st and 2nd, and the best of those welcome to the team with YA's traditional orchestra cast and parent meeting on June 5th. The parent meeting is where we lay out all our plans and expectations for the summer, discuss our participation contract, and encourage everyone to buy tickets early. Committing to the Teen Summer Musical is no small undertaking. Rehearsals begin June 6th and run 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, 5:30 to 9:30, and Saturdays 10 to 3. The actors will put in over 180 hours rehearsal in 9 weeks. Performances are August 5th through the 9th. The Teen Summer Musical is an opportunity for actors, musicians, and technicians. Last year's musical utilized 33 teen actors, 19 teen musicians, and 17 teen technicians. This year, we will return to Newbury Park High School Performing Arts Center, thanks to our partnership with CVUSD. With just 10 days to load in, tech, and have dress rehearsals, this production will rely heavily on the incredible organizational skills of our technical theater team, including Mark Reyes, Ian Kelly, Natalie DeSavia, and Lauren Alexander. It has been 15 years since we first produced Chicago in 2011. To date, it is still one of the most successful teen summer musicals we have ever presented. Our 2 lead actors from the 2011 production found themselves both performing on Broadway within 5 years of that show. One even reprised her role of Roxy Hart on Broadway. This summer's production has a high bar to aspire to, but we have confidence that director and Broadway veteran Roxanne Livia will help us outdo ourselves. Chicago Teen Edition opens August 3rd and runs through August 9th. You'd think we could take a breath after all of that, but as soon as we return from the Teen Summer Musical, we head into Always on Stage's performances of Frozen Jr. in the Theater on the Hill. Always on Stage waits with bated breath for our return because we bring with us much of our lighting equipment. Always on Stage is a community theater group that rents our theater each summer for a production that features performers with and without disabilities. And don't forget, the second Saturday of each month throughout the summer, we will have stand-up comedy under the stars outside on our patio. And of course, there are all our summer renters. Our rehearsal rooms are regularly rented by a wonderfully diverse group of organizations, including 5-Star Theatricals, Pacific Pearl Dance and Music, Conejo Valley Folk Dancers, Carnation Arts and Culture Group, Always on Stage, Family Ideals Group, Sunset Music, Meredith Hall Zumba Studio, Ventura County Music Teachers Association, Phoenix Family Performing Arts, Ventura County Gilbert and Sullivan Repertoire Company, Ventura County Astronomical Society, Conejo Gem and Mineral Club, Conejo Chinese Cultural Association, and People Sketchers, and the Democratic Club of the Conejo Valley. At some point, we'll also be prepping for fall elementary music classes and beginning planning of the All-District Music Festival, scheduling fall HCFA classes, preparing our fall Hillcrest Players and family theater productions, and reserving all our fall rentals. Normally, we would keep our eyes set on the Labor Day concert in the park. Oh, we'll also be assisting backstage in the concerts in the park. But this summer has a more bittersweet date that will be hurtling towards us. After 38 years with the district, August 28th will be Mark Reyes's last day before retirement. Mark has been a fixture of the cultural unit for so long, it's hard to imagine what the unit will be like without him. He will leave some enormous shoes to fill, but we plan to continue to contract him as a director once in a while. It's going to be an incredible whirlwind summer. We're looking forward to lots of fun, hard work, and a hard goodbye before we dive into fall 2026. Thank you so much. We are available for questions.
Bravo, Hillcrest Center for the Arts. What would our city do without you? My, how about if we start over here to comments and questions? Director Orozco?
Oh my goodness. I am so excited for everything that's to come in the coming weeks and months. Thank you so much for the presentation. It's nice to see, everything that's on the horizon so I can make a mental note of like what I want to get to. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Director Nichols?
Thanks, Megan. It's always good to kind of get a refreshing review of what happens here. You know, we're coming and going a couple times a month or more with our various meetings. And, you know, I've mentioned many times to our folks around the community is you have no idea the activity that buzzes around this location here. And I know there's, you know, other locations where the activities take place as well, but this is kind of the hub, as you mentioned. And as I was walking in, looking at all these dangling wires, just waiting for something to attach to, you know, I always look forward to seeing those displays. And that's just a constant reminder of the arts and culture that we try to promote up here. And again, I have fond memories of our kids, or, you know, watching the Young Artists Ensemble, you know, over at Waverly back in the day, and, you know, growing up to see, you know, what happens now. Now I'm ushering grandkids to these various activities. Hopefully we can make them musical. I know we've got some vacation dates that are going to overlap there, so we'll see what we can do. But I was going to say, with the various camps, in fact, I was thinking of the music camp you're just talking about. Um, there's so many options for kids, and yet we continue to find more ways to entertain them. And I say entertain because I guess they're learning, but hopefully it's in an entertaining way, which you have a knack for. So appreciate that, how you kind of blend all that together, always finding new ways, new opportunities, and, you know, using our facilities to the fullest. So thanks for the review. Look forward to a very successful summer and another report of all the great things you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Director Marissa, what is your last name?
Bus. Oh my gosh, I feel you. I feel you. It's been one of those days for me too. I actually have a question. Sorry, did you mention that Roxanne Livia that is so crazy. I did not know. So she's my neighbor.
Amazing.
And when I first went to Madronia, she was the PTA president. My daughter was in TK and it was her son's 5th grade year. So we just like barely overlapped, but then I always see her in the neighborhood. And when you said that, because I knew they ran like a camera business or something like that. I knew they were like somehow involved, but I didn't know that. So that's so cool.
Yes, she's a Broadway veteran of Rent and Miss Saigon.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that. I'm gonna have to text her and be like, holy moly, I didn't know this about you. Yeah, that's so cool. And I have to say, I hear like so many amazing things about you guys. Leo and Blue Burdon, her mom, Emily, we're partners in residential real estate. So she's always filling me in on all of it, as well as my nieces, which are involved, as well. So you guys just blow me like away. You do such a phenomenal job. And I think it's so cool that we have this here because like my brother was like a theater kid. I mean, he did all of it singing. He got the long legs and the voice out of our family. But I think it's just so great because there are so many kids who don't want to go and play sports and what have you. And it's so nice that we have this level of production here for them to participate on. And I just can't believe that those ladies went on to Broadway within 5 years. I actually want to take my kids to New York and take them to a Broadway because I'm like, you need to understand the level of
Well, for those of
theatrics.
the outsiders right now, our YE alumni Joette Ditto is just joined the cast.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. It's so cool.
Yep.
So, well, you guys do a phenomenal job. Keep up the great work. I really appreciate it because I hear nothing but good things of anyone who's involved. So, thank you.
Yes, and Director Huffer.
Thank you. Thank you for remembering. I guess the first thing that comes to mind is, whew, you have so much going on. You probably need to add a month or two to the summer, one way or another, to get all of this in.
That would be nice.
My kids are long grown and out of the area, but people who have kids, if the kids come up and say, I've got nothing to do, what can I do? Well, they have so many choices. It's unbelievable. With all the various camps and things you have, I don't want to call myself a musician, but I did play a musical instrument. And I'm just curious, the band camps I guess you have both band and string camps in the summer. Do the kids have to have their own instruments to attend these camps, or is there some way that they can rent or borrow instruments for these camps?
There's options for renting and borrowing locally, but not through us. So we do put them in touch with music stores that rent.
Okay. And I always am looking forward to the summer musical.
I haven't seen Chicago perform live, but I'm looking forward to that. So thank you for everything that you do and for your entire group. As I said, everything that you have going on is just pretty incredible. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll try not to cry. I already feel all choked up because I love this program so much. And isn't it wonderful that we are going to own this building and the Hillcrest Center for the Arts has a home? It's not just that we are here in this room where we could probably be in any room, but I think a main focus for us to get these buildings was to save the Hillcrest Center for the Arts. And you have shown what a valuable resource this is to our community. And I've told you all so many times what a valuable resource it was to my family because they were involved. So I'm going to be seeing Chicago at the end of April. You know Hank, don't you? Did you know Hank and Leah? Yeah. Those are my kids that met in a play at, a teen summer musical. And no, it was King and I, but it doesn't matter. Hank is a high school theater teacher. Leah is an art teacher. They teach at the same high school, and he's doing Chicago teen version at the end of April. So I'll have to compare.
We'll let him down easy.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for all that you do. And I'm just thrilled that this program can continue. It's major. It's major for our community. And there are not other communities in talking to my children that live out of town and have teenagers that can replicate something of this quality at all. So thank you again.
Thank you so much.
All righty, so we have one speaker card. So George Lang is going to give us a brief update on MRCA. Welcome, George.
Thank you, and Honorable Chair Cusworth and Honorable Chair Busts and Honorable Board members and General Manager, our Senior Director staff and so forth. What a great organization, and hearing that report made me just more proud of the fact that I've had an association with this organization. Now, Jim, do this board members still get a copy of the MRCA report? Okay, and hopefully you've glanced at it, but I wanted to highlight a couple of things, and also I'm going to mention a couple items that were on our Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy board meeting this past Monday. Under the fire division, which brings to mind the MRCA opened our fire division facilities over off of Las Virgenes, Malibu Canyon for a tour for our conservancy. First time they've done that in many, many years. And I was thinking when I just started to read the report that I would like to see if Jim and Tim, Ken, and whoever at the MRCA would open up an opportunity for our board and staff members and so forth to take a tour over there. I think you'll be impressed with the facility and the equipment and the manpower that we have that man our fire division. And I think I've mentioned this, maybe not to this group, but the Malibu, not the Pacific Palisades fire did impact our facility in Temescal Canyon. And if it wasn't for our fire division or fire group, that would have had major damage and major damage. And we did suffer some, but it was thanks to our fire division that saved our facilities and so forth. So I'm kind of going off script, but I just wanted to mention that seasonal hiring is moving forward. 60 applicants have been interviewed with hopes of onboarding, returning, and new seasonal firefighters by mid-April. And under construction, there's the item bullet number 3. Under construction, additional improvements are underway at the Mentryville and Whitney Canyon Park, but specifically Mentryville's stuck in my head because you might not know, but that was the location of the very first oil well, and I think in all California or in the western U.S. Um, Also under developed resources, and I think you know that's the main source of our revenue. Additional resources for our MRCA comes through our developed resources, parks and so forth. And I know there's many that you haven't had an opportunity to visit. So at some time, uh, check on the park under the MRCA and the Conservancy. And now I'm going to quickly jump to the agenda of our Conservancy board meeting last past Monday. And the majority of them, as you assume, is property acquisition, various properties and so forth. And this touches on what I presented last time on the acquisition back in 22. The MRCA acquired the um, John Randall, the I'm sorry, Frank and Joan Randall Preserve there in Orange County, which I covered last month's presentation. But we did a presentation to our conservancy on that property. We didn't use authorizing grant of Prop 4 funds to the MRCA to acquire Triumphal Creek watershed unincorporated Los Angeles County consideration resolution authorizing augmentation grant for bow tie wetland demonstration, city of Los Angeles. So we acquired that bow tie wetlands demonstration area. Consideration resolution authorizing grant for Winding Way Trail restoration in Malibu. And that was primarily the action items, discussion item. But anyway, continues to be a great pleasure for me to be able to represent you on the MRCA. And based on what we've, as you know, have accomplished, it takes all of us as a team, as different groups, to make all this happen. So thank you very much for your continued support and have a great rest of the year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lang, and we do appreciate your continued leadership of MRCA. So thank you for your report. Can I get approval of the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
A second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Can I get a motion for the consent calendar A, B, and C?
I'll move
Director Hoffman.
approval of the consent calendar items A, B, and C.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I don't believe we have any deferred matters or items for discussion. So I've been very excited for this. Even when I looked at it on my computer and I saw how beautiful it was. So we will have our adoption of the preliminary budget. Mrs. Smith.
All right, thank you, Chair Cusworth and members of the board. So tonight I'm presenting the adoption of the preliminary budget, and I'm going to share my screen if I can figure it out. Thank you, Katie, for the help.
Oh, I'm sorry. Madam Clerk,
Oh.
will you please,
You were right.
will you please announce this?
Yes, of course. Item 9A, adoption of preliminary budget for fiscal year 26-27.
Thank you. And now, Director Smith.
Thank you. Let me get this going. I can see it okay. There we go. All right. So we are presenting the adoption of the preliminary budget for fiscal year 26-27. So staff is recommending the adoption of this resolution, which approves the preliminary operating and capital budgets. So to be clear, nothing is changing tonight. This budget is identical to what the board approved in June of 2025. We operate on a biennial cycle, and so fiscal year 26-27 is already year 2 of that approved plan. But the Public Resources Code nonetheless requires that we have an annual adoption of a preliminary budget in order to open the public hearing process on the budget. So that's all that we're asking for tonight, is that adoption of the preliminary budget to start that public hearing process we're required to do. This is the summary of what the full up district budget looks like. You'll see it's just shy of $40 million. Property tax is the largest revenue source at 54%, followed by rec revenue at 18 and other government sources at 11. On the expenditure side, 57% goes to salaries and benefits, 34% to services and supplies, and 9% to capital. And our general fund represents 83% of the total expenditures. So that's just some highlights for you. By division, the general fund has about 35.1 million across 98.4 full-time bodies in 3 divisions. Parks and Planning comes in at 13.8 million with 48 park sites and 15,000 acres of open space. Recreation and Community Services comes in at 14.3 million and has programming across all of our community centers. And Management Services is at 5.3 million. It covers finance, HR, IT, risk, and MRCA oversight. It also includes our transfers to the other capital projects and our reserves. So we've got the Parks and Planning at 39% of the budget, Rec at 41%, and Management Services at 15%. And then this is a summary of what the other funds are, and I know it's a little, but you have all the details in your packet. The Capital Projects Fund is at 475,000. This is where we hold our park dedication fees and a contingency reserve. The Equipment Replacement Fund at 680,000 covers 8 fleet replacements and technology updates. And then the district-wide assessment fund at 3.3 million, which was established after the ERAF shifted property taxes away from the district, directs about 60% of its spending into our capital improvements. And then finally, the Dos Vientos and Rancho Conejo assessment funds cover those operations in those communities. Now, the big excitement, Fireworks Hill. Okay, so this is the one new item. I'm not asking you to approve anything, but I wanted to give you a heads up on what we're going to do. So the property obviously would bring new operational costs that are not in this existing biennial budget. The budget process takes a lot of work and analysis to build in that 2-year cycle. So rather than amend the budget by every single line in the middle of the cycle, we're going to be proposing a one-time source to cover the year 1 of having this property. The general fund is owed approximately 1.4 million from the prior interfund loan that we used to fund Page Lane. So you might remember our general fund loaned money to our capital fund in order to fund Page Lane, and then the idea was when development fees came in that area, the general fund would be reimbursed. So that is now happening. We're going to receive that 1.4 million in time for this first year of operating the hill, and it's all in the same planning zone. So the timing works out great, and we avoid having to redo every single line in the budget with that practice. I'm not asking you to approve that tonight. That's just a heads up on what's coming and how we're planning on getting that first year of rollout expenses for operating the hill. Additionally, we're going to be planning on adding a new facilities maintenance technician for the building next door. And we're also going to be adding a full-time body for inclusion as that program is growing. So those are the changes that are going to be coming. And here is the schedule for the rest of the budget. I know you already got this, I think about a month ago, but the next two meetings, we're going to have public hearings only where people can come and talk about this preliminary budget. Then on May 7th, we'll have the proposed operating budget that includes that that one-time fund from the repayment of the loan and what we're assuming for the operating needs here, and those 2 additional positions. And then May 21st is any changes that we have for capital improvements. Again, that's going to largely be anything we need to do next door. June 4th, we're going to present them all over again one more time for you to give us feedback, with a final adoption on June 18th. So, why we're doing this tonight, this is just a statutory compliance so that come June 30, we have basic spending authority. We're hoping that one-time Page Lane repayment will allow us to get a good baseline for the real operating costs next door. Yeah, and then we'll be able to get the better numbers as we go through that biennial cycle. So with that, I'm available for questions.
Okay, thank you. That was much shorter than I had anticipated, considering how much was in here. So I guess this is just to look for our enjoyment.
And if there's no
Excuse me.
change, so.
And then we'll be discussing more every meeting as we go on.
Yes.
So questions and comments, Director Huffer?
On the 1.4 million loan, does that, am I correct that that pays off the entire loan?
I think there's still like 400,000 left to be repaid after that, but we're getting really close. So, but I can have that information for you.
Okay. And just in going through the numbers here, I mean, we've seen all these before, but it was helpful to show the, and I think it was suggested last time, but showing the breakdown between full-time salaries and part-time salaries at each of the different facilities, along with benefits. And I'm sure we all knew this, but it's a little not shocking, but certainly eye-opening what a percentage the benefits are of the total salaries and benefits for, overall and for each of the divisions. I was just curious, looking at the various community centers. It wasn't too surprising that the part-time salaries were, in most cases, at least a bit higher than the full-time salaries. I mean, you only have 2 full-time people at most of the centers, which is, I'm still amazed by that, how you can run those entire centers with just 2 full-time individuals. But I was curious, in the Conejo Community Center, it seemed like the difference between part-time salaries of about 360,000 versus full-time of about 117,000, bigger delta on for that center than any of the other centers. And I just curious as to, and maybe this is a Rochelle question rather than for you, but just curious as to why there appears to be a lot more part-time salaries at Conejo Community Center versus all the other centers.
I believe the number that you're looking at includes the camp counselors in what we call the outdoor budget, but for, I believe, this purpose, they're mushed together. And so that's what makes it even larger, the seasonal staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Director Buss?
I have no questions. That was beautiful as always. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
And Director Nichols?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a couple of questions. In your list of dates, you had a couple of dates that said public hearing only, but I think we have multiple public hearings beyond just those 2 public hearing only dates, correct?
Oh, yes. So each of those meetings will have a public hearing. It's just the ones where that's the only thing we're doing.
Okay.
Mhm.
And since this process, since we've already adopted the budget, is following the PRC, the mandate for having this process, does that also mandate the number of public hearings that has to take place?
I don't think there's a number. It says that you have to have them, but there's not a minimum on it. And so we are definitely above and beyond what the minimum would be.
Okay, and so our steps as you have them there, we're just kind of breaking it down into the different steps just to make it easier for presentation and for discussion and consumption of all this information, but it's not a requirement to do that. we could, I suppose we could do this all in one step if we wanted to.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we just try to
Yeah,
stretch
this
it
is
out
for-
just to kind of,
yes.
just make it bite-sized pieces. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. All right. Just want to make sure.
Mhm.
And then you also mentioned a position, a full-time position for the inclusion program.
Mhm.
But you also said there's no changes. So is that a change or is that not a change?
So this budget has no change. The May 7th one, where I'm going to be coming with the new changes, is going to include that.
Gotcha. Okay. So this is just preliminary.
Yes, this is
Okay.
preliminary.
So we'll be hearing more about the changes because I know you also talked about, well, we hear some of that year-end adjustments.
Mhm.
And is that like part of the changes, so to speak, is just to kind of tidy things up, which I think even takes place after the end of the fiscal year?
Yes.
Where you're putting a bow on this and finally wrapping it all up.
Yep.
Okay.
You're
all
right on page.
Just want to make sure. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
And Director Orozco.
I have no questions. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thanks.
And I would just like to thank you for being on top of all of this all the time. So, and it looks like we have a lot of good things in the future, and I'll look forward to our future meetings. So I believe that we have a recommendation that is a resolution. So do I have, Madam Clerk already talked. So do I have a motion to approve this resolution? Director Huffer.
Yes, I'd like to move that we adopt resolution number 031926-A to be read in title only, all future readings to be waived.
And a second for that? Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to, oh, did I not say something right?
We needed to have it read.
Oh, I'm sorry, of course. Please, Madam Clerk, read our resolution.
Resolution number 031926-A, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Conejo Recreation and Park District adopting the fiscal year 2026-2027 preliminary budget for the district.
Thank you very much. And now we can move on. Okay, now we'll be to Madam Clerk. Will you please read our next item?
Yes, item 9B, approval to renew ongoing license agreements with Southern California Edison SCE.
And will this be yours, Director Mooney? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair Cussworth, members of the board. As we've done in past years, we're on a 5-year cycle with 4 property license agreements, basically a lease on Edison property. If you look in your packet on page 125, there's a map that will kind of help describe this. Some of these we've had for longer time, like the Fiore playfields. Those agreements have been formulated over time. In my time, we've added a couple at Sapwee Trails, so that would be the agreement number 9.6812, as well as I believe a few years before the Sapwee Trails, we added the third agreement, which is the 10-foot wide trail running along south of Los Cerritos School. But basically, Edison has utility runs, and there's opportunity like Fiore playfields. We have baseball fields below those. Sapwee Trails, we have connection from Canary Creek West. We have connection from Canary Creek West across to Sapwee Trails, and then also with Sapwee Trails parcel, we have access going up the hill so that it kind of connects opportunities from our park spaces or other agreements we have with other entities to be able to provide use, right? So anywhere from a baseball field to just a trail walking path. So those get assessed every 5 years. We work with Edison Surprise, surprise, there was an increase, but there was a range within the increase. So the bigger parcels were about a 4.5% increase annually. The small parcel, which is the sewer pipeline at Fiore Playfield that serves that restroom, was only a 3% annual increase. So there is a range, but it's based on footprint, right? So based on the square footage acreage of what we were leasing. So this year we're just below, or this cycle, sorry, we're just below $20,000 for all four parcels for all 5 years, right? And so compared to back in May of 21, when we brought this to the board, it's about just over a $3,000 increase for total, all four parcels, all 5 years. So pretty standard, but we do take this. It's Edison owns the property, so that's their cycle with coming back. And since this is a long-term commitment by the district, that's why we bring it back, since it's above staff's authority to do it. So we bring it to the board. But with that, I'm available for questions. I think this is good for the community. Obviously, costs are costs, but again, Fiore Playfield, access from west to Sapui, as well as access through Sapui trails. So.
Okay, thank you, Director Mooney. Do we have any questions, Director Orozco?
No question.
Director Nichols?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just one question. Since this is a cyclical process, what causes the renewal process to be initiated? Is that on our side or on Edison's side?
So typically we have like a tickler on our side about 6 months before I reach out to Edison just to make sure that we're moving forward. And then we get assigned a staff member with Edison and go through that process. So we confirm that there's no changes from past agreements, but then also the cost is the biggest change, even though it's pretty minimal, but that's the biggest change with any of the agreements. So.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's it, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, please. Bess.
Am I remembering correctly that the Fiore Playfields, wasn't there like that they wanted to change our lease significantly or sell the property?
Yeah, we had a
Remember that?
closed session discussion involving state-owned property, not Edison.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
Never mind then.
Yes, Director Hupper.
Just out of idle curiosity, it's almost 100 pages of agreements there. And it says authorizing the general manager. So does the general manager or you or someone else have the opportunity to initial every single one of those 100 pages?
So that is like Edison format agreement, since it's their property, just like our contracts are on our property. So we would follow our format. A lot of things are digital now. So I believe it will be a digital DocuSign. So it will save Jim's wrist from signing all these, but since he's the big boss, he gets to sign them all. Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll be happy to make that motion to authorize the general manager to renew our 4 license agreements with Southern California Edison as recommended by staff.
A second?
Second.
Okay, all approved?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay, motion passes. So moving on, and Madam Clerk of the Board, will you please announce our next?
Yes, item 9C, authorized purchase of materials and installation services from Travis Stoke Construction for Crowley House repairs.
And is this yours again, Mr. Mooney?
So thank you, Chair Cusworth, members of the board. As you're aware, we have a historic structure home on the property of El Parque de la Paz. So it's the Crowley House. Thank you, Katie, for popping up on the screen. So that property dates back to, the home dates back to 1910. So very, very old structure. Staff has done a great job of maintaining it. As you can see, it's got a good coat of paint on it, good roof. We've unfortunately had to fence it a year or two ago due to structural issues at the home. And we've used it for a multitude of things. It was the sports office years ago. Therapeutic has most recently used it. So it's definitely has served the community. However, over time, it started sagging. So that was at the foundation level. So below, it's a raised foundation. So below the first floor, we had some sagging, as well as in between the first and second floors. We did a structural assessment. We worked with an architect to work through some of the historical kind of items to secure a permit. So we have a permit in hand. We went through a informal bid process, as this is a unique property where certain people can say, I can do some framing, I can do other things. We wanted to make sure we can control that process to get the right contractor in there to make sure that we can keep the historic significance what it is without and fix those repairs, but then also restore it to that level, right? And so we've worked through it with our contractor. We have a bid there, or a proposal for $93,000. As you can see on page 228 in the project financial status, we do have a more than normal contingency. Again, the building's made in 1910. We're going to be opening up floors and walls and ceilings. And so we want to make sure that we have enough money to be able to fix any surprises that might arise. Typically for like outdoor landscape construction, what we take to the board is about like an 8 to 10% contingency. When we work on buildings, obviously age comes into play. If it's a new building, contingencies can go a little lower, but around anywhere from 15 to 20% is a lot more comfortable. And you can see I got 28,000 there. One, to make a nice even number for Melissa at 120, but then also just for the what if. So the intent isn't to spend a whole 120, but the intent is to make sure that we can act without having to come back to the board to finish the project. And so currently we do not have any use happening there. So we'll have full access. We'll be able to get to it when the materials and the contractors available. At this time, we do not have a program there. And that would be something future conversations to figure out. Obviously, with the purchase of 403, 401, we have a little bit extra space. Possibly therapeutic will be using some of that space like they used temporarily 2 summers ago. But it's the factor of just making sure that we can fix it, preserve it, because it is important for the community, and then we can kind of proceed on how are we going to use it, right? So we just don't want the structure to fail, and then we have more issues with the property. So, but with that, I'm available for questions.
Do we have any questions? Yes, Director Huffer.
Yeah, I'm curious, Andrew. At the very end of your discussion, you said that Travis Stoke has successfully completed work on public and private projects, including something for the district. Could you just give a couple examples of what they have done locally? I don't claim to be familiar with commercial contractors, but I don't recognize the names. So
yeah, so they've done work for our camera systems throughout the district. I don't know specifically what sites, but over time they've done that. They've done general contracting work, so fixing restrooms, doing flooring, painting, wall repair work. So this is kind of right up their alley, and they're very detail oriented. Building maintenance staff, Joe Tenero, the supervisor before, as well as Eric Bjork, very detailed. And this is a contractor that they've worked with quite a bit. So we're very comfortable with using them and their craftsmanship. So
okay, so you're confident that they can handle the special requirements for this building that wouldn't be faced in most other structures?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Director Nichols?
Yes, just thank you, Director Mooney. I was just wondering, knowing the site and the busy intersection that's next to it and the commercial businesses that front Teal Boulevard, that a lot of traffic there, and we don't have a parking lot there. Just curious, how is the staging and operations going to work with providing supplies and,
Sure.
Contract vehicles coming and going without intruding on the neighboring streets?
Sure. So to the south of the building, in between the playground and the building itself, there's a large gravel lot there. I actually was there the other day. We had a large stake bed truck, and we could probably fit 3 or 4 of those with plenty of access to unload materials, move things around. So on the property itself, we have plenty of room, which is gravel lot, won't be damaging turf or anything like that. So
Okay, good, because I actually just was over there this week with some tire repairs, so
gotcha.
came to mind.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
So, you're going to hear a little history lesson from me. So thank you for those comments. It is interesting that property was originally owned by Egbert and Frances Newberry. They only lived there for a few years and they never lived in Newberry Park, yet Newberry Park was named after them. And that's a whole nother story. But just to say that is the site of our first post office in Thousand Oaks. It was also used as the home for Kathy and Louis Goebel. At one time, of course, they were the owners of Jungle Land, and they lived on it for a while. It was on the property of Jungle Land, and other than a wall of Jungle Land that's at the Civic Arts Plaza, which I don't know what the destiny of that wall is, this is our reminder of Jungle Land, which of course is why Parco de la Paz has a Jungle Land theme to it. So I'd also just like to mention even though, we've mentioned that CRPD is kind of a keeper of a lot of the arts. We are pretty much the keeper of history in this valley. We own the land and the 3 museums. Now we own this building, which is a historic building. And then also we may soon own the property around the historic Jan's house. So it's somewhat, I'm trying to think if we own any other historic buildings. I think that's it, but we only have a few historic buildings in this community. My daughter may be moving here from Spokane, Washington, we hope by next year. And she said to me, now we don't want, their house was probably built in the 30s or 40s. She goes, we don't want a really old house, like not a 1910 or 20s house, maybe something more in the 70s. And I said, honey, we don't have those. Those would be historic buildings. Spokane's she should have known that. She grew up here, but I thought that was funny. So 1910 is a very old building for us. So I'm glad for the attention that's being put to this. Thank you very much. So can anyone make a recommendation that we can approve this? Director Huffer, and a second? Oh, you have a question.
No, I was about to make a motion.
Oh, I keep forgetting that. You have to actually say something. Okay, please, Director Huffer.
Yes, I would like to move approval of staff recommendations 1 and 2.
Thank you very much. And a second. And the second person doesn't have to say anything. They can just say that. So, all approved?
Yes.
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 Okay. Any opposed? Great. Motion passes. And so moving right along. Madam Clerk, can you please introduce our next item?
Yes, item 9D, consider and approve proposed 2026 goals and objectives.
Thank you very much. And I guess will this be you, Mr. Friedel?
Yes, thank you, Chair Cussworth and members of the board. If you'll recall, we talked about this at our last meeting, which was a month ago to the day, February 19th. We were at Dos Viennos Community Center, and I think the same crowd was there. So we talked about the 5-year strategic plan. We only made 2 very minor changes, so I didn't bother adding that to the packet or anything, but we are proposing to in the vision statement talk about matching our programs and facilities to demonstrated and demographic needs, so that we're getting that word demonstrated in, that there is there's evidence that the need is there for whatever changes we're proposing. And the other was under section 4.5 partnerships, where we're going to refer to California Lutheran University as an example of one of the local organizations that we're fostering collaborative relationships with. So those were the only 2 changes to this document from that discussion that night. More substantive changes were to the goals and objectives, which are on page 234 of your packet. And I actually listened to that whole meeting again, so I got to do it twice. But just to make sure that I heard you guys and we got things right. So it was primarily a reduction meeting. So you guys had removed a lot of the items. We probably had I don't know, 7 or 8 more than are on here. So we removed those as either complete or just not a priority. The remaining ones you can see here, A through I, they are, and it's printed on the packet there, no particular order. It just so happens that was the order we talked about them in. So we can kind of go through them one by one if you'd like, or if you've got questions about any of the language there or whatnot. I did include a comment section to kind of update where at least staff thinks we are with these things right now. So it's a good list. It's a great to-do list. It's tangible. It's doable within, this time horizon. Like the next year, we should be able to get to almost all these things. So it's a good list to work on. And this is a pretty unique year because once we become owners of that building next door, there's a lot going into that, and then how we, might improve and occupy it. There's a lot there. So taking up some energy. But with that, I'm available for questions.
Any questions? No questions? Like we had everything said. Well, when I was looking through it, I thought, yes, these are all definitely items I think that we could at least complete or make quite a bit of progress on, and they are all measurable goals. So I feel that we, particularly met what we wanted to do at the last meeting with this, and I appreciate that we have these goals. For number F, before we had talked about maybe having more partnerships with the city, and I was last year particularly thinking of their art advisory committee, which they disbanded. So we changed this to enhance the physical art and opportunities, so it's something that we can actually measure. But I did want to just mention something. I don't believe that TO Arts is actually of our government. It's not a government entity like the city, but it's definitely an organization in our community that we are partnering with the arts, in that they are using our parks to do some of the concerts in June. And they are fostering a lot of art. They're having a large photography exhibition where they're bringing art into a lot of different places that people just, go to have coffee or hang out. And I think it's a fabulous organization. So we do have somewhat of a connection with them. I don't know that it needs to be expanded, but I just wanted to mention in this meeting of how appreciative I am that we have an organization like TO Arts in our community. If there ever is something that we want to expand with them, they're a good organization. So with that, are we, can we approve our proposed goals and objectives? Who would like to make a motion for that? Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed 2026 goals and objectives.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passed. Do we have any questions or Madam of our clerk board, you don't say anything on this one. Okay. I'll probably have new names for you every single meeting. I think I got all the words in there for that one. Okay, so do we have any comments for our reports and announcements? Yes, Director Huffer.
Yeah, it was just sort of exciting in the 10D park dedication fees. We've been seeing so many ADU fees with a few hundred or a couple thousand or something like that. To see an actual substantial park dedication fee was kind of cool. So hopefully we'll see more of those in the not too distant future.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments or questions? So based on the size of the packet, this is a much shorter meeting than I had anticipated. So I didn't eat dinner before I came, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. I'll be able to go home for dinner. So our department reports, Director Mooney.
Thank you, Chair Cusworth, members of the board. Pretty exciting skate park kicked off construction this week. Contractor moved in. We had a pre-construction meeting with staff as well as city departments with permits and such. So fence is up, some signage is up, all good stuff. So just, you know, we're going to be chipping away at that. Hopefully there's a mess here in the next couple weeks where demolition and grading and things like that are happening. So which will be good. But other than that, I'm available for questions.
Any questions? Yes, Director Nichols.
I've heard that our chair would be interested to know if there's any heavy equipment needs that she can help with for the demolition of that site.
Now, I got a lot of comments from that photograph. I have to say, I was a little famous. It was my minute of fame there.
Sure. No comment.
Anyone else? Okay, moving on. Director Callis.
Thank you, Chair Cusworth, members of the board. A couple of things I wanted to let you know. I don't know if you guys have heard, but because I don't think I've told you yet, but Jay Dodwell with the Teen Center is retiring. So his last day is May 1st. We've actually closed our recruitment and are getting ready to potentially, or we'll be doing interviewing soon. So hopefully we'll have some announcement soon on that. I wanted to give you a little update on training that we have just started in the last year or so with some of our staff. There is a NRPA school, management school. It's nationally recognized. It's a 2-year professional development program designed for parks and recreation professionals who want to strengthen their skills in generating management and sustaining revenue and managing stuff. And I wanted to let you know that Brianne actually just completed and got her certificate for her 2 years in event management school. And then Rick at Dos Vientos is currently just finished his first year of revenue development in the management school. So he'll have 1 more year of that. So it's nice to see that we're investing. It's a good investment with the staff. And then I just wanted to give you a heads up in case you hear about this in the community. So we have probably 150 to 200 independent contractors, that's businesses or individuals that we contract with that are out teaching our classes and our sports things and stuff like that. It is required that they have insurance. So it is something that is new that we're enforcing for individuals. And there's some new elements of the insurance that also needs, those who have had insurance need to provide some additional information for us. So a email letter went out today to all of our independent contractors based off what it is we're missing or need from them. And they have until January 1st to give that to us, or they will be unable to proceed forward with contracting with us. So I just want you to know that if you have additional questions or something comes up, please feel free to have anybody come to me, but we'll be tracking everything and working through it, hopefully, and people will be able to get insurance. We did also, Tristan, our assistant, put a list of about 10 different ways to get insurance other than if they just went through their own whatever insurance they had. So there's 10 of no recommendation, but just other options that they could go through to get insurance. So you might hear about that because it's going to cost them a little bit. So, and with that, I am available for questions.
Okay, Director Smith.
All right, well, I'm in budget land, but more importantly, Loretta, my amazing finance manager, is retiring April 30th. And today, Jesse Richardson, her number 2, who's been with us for 5 years, accepted to the position to replace her. So we're a little bit ahead of you replacing Jay, but they're going to be working together for the next month to work on that transition so that it's smooth, because there's a lot of bank access and things like passwords like that to move forward. But we're really excited. Jesse's been amazing. She's finishing her degree at Cal. So we're really excited, and yeah, just wanted to share.
And Mr. Friedel.
Yeah, just a kind of a few updates. The weather has been obviously very, very warm, very beautiful out there and green, and we encourage and love everybody hiking and getting out in the open space. But I do want to share with the board, and as a reminder, in case you do hear about it, a couple weeks ago, somebody in Orange County was bit by a rattlesnake and passed away. Well, we actually over the weekend had a rattlesnake bite in Wildwood. And that person was airlifted to Robles, and the last I heard, they are still in Robles. So I don't know the status. I'm not allowed to find out unless somebody wants to share that with me. But just public service reminder that when we're out there enjoying the beautiful flowers and green and heat and all that, there are rattlesnakes, and we have signs to kind of remind folks. But even the most careful person, you know, the snake could get you. So just kind of letting you know in case you do hear about that. But it was hot enough that we actually opened our centers and advertised them as the cooling centers, as we do, because you kind of forget, but there are some low income elderly people that like live here and don't have AC. So we remind people, please come to a community center and hang out if you need to. Then really quick, Saturday, 2 days from now, Casca is having Trail Work Day. That's where you get there early in the morning. You work for 3 hours, get free tacos at lunch. So free tacos, and you just gotta, sweat in the sun and work your butt off. It's awesome. But it's actually an easy to trail. It's the whole access trail. So park right by the Jant's house behind the golf course, and it's right there, easy to get to the work, and it'll be a fun day. Special needs fair. It's not really our event per se, but we are there and supporting the event. The police are kind of leading it. It's going to be at the Oaks Mall on Saturday as well. The next, and I think you got an email, we're looking for your availability on the April 16th board meeting. What we'd like to do is take a tour of McCray Ranch at 4:00 and then come back here and start a regular meeting in the office. And the reason for that is McCray is about to turn 100, and Wyatt's approached us with a kind of a matching grant, 100th anniversary, like let's get ready for this milestone coming up and try to do some work out there. So we want to give you guys a tour of the things that he's thinking about and wants to do, and we're aware of as well. So things that have to happen out at the ranch. And then on Monday, April 27th is the Gratitude Circle, which I think you have all in your calendar, and I just want to make sure you all have it as April 27th and not the original date I had told you about. So April 27th, that's the date. That's it.
Any questions? So usually we all have a certain person we're speaking about. If we have somebody that in particular we'd like to speak about, should we email you, or are you going to just give us?
I will ask you that. But if you guys want to tell me who you would prefer, and then I'll try to sort of balance it out so that everyone gets the person they can. Obviously, if y'all pick the same person, that won't work, but we'll figure that out. But yeah, otherwise I'll send out an email and try to get that as well.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll move on to our director reports. Director Roscoe?
Great, thank you. I'm trying to remember. It feels like everything's running together, but I did attend the Senior Concerns Gala and the Community Conscience, and was able to celebrate Chuck Huffer in being awarded or being recognized as, oh gosh, I'm spacing on the title. What was it again?
King.
So that was really fun and wonderful, both really great events for organizations doing just stellar work in the community. And then we had our Property Acquisitions Committee meeting this past week, where we were updated on some things as they relate to the Hillcrest Center of Performing Arts for our purchase. And that's it for me. Oh, actually, one more thing I did hear. So sorry. I did hear some really wonderful things about Bark in the Park. I was so upset that I could not make it, but everybody that I talked to was raving about it. So.
All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I too attended the Senior Concerns Gala and the Community Conscious Ball. It's always fun to be able to support our local community and to see the, amazing volunteers. I know we have our own cadre volunteers, but we have a community that is full of volunteers. It's nice to see those folks getting recognized in various ways. March 5th also had the CARPD, the California Association of Rec and Park Districts Legislative Committee meeting. And I'll get more to that in just a minute. On the 9th, we had the Master Plan Committee meeting for Conejo Creek West. And then for the Association of Rec and Park District also met for AB 1639 specifically. So I had several things going on for that. I did want to mention that in looking at the legislative bills, I think we have over 2,000 bills that have been introduced this year. So our lobbyist has been going through, advocate, however you want to phrase that, is going through, finding the ones that directly apply to us or ask our input as to whether they do or not. So we have been interacting with that. I had another one this week that I asked staff for some input on. I would say the theme of the year is e-bikes when it comes to legislation. It's just everybody's trying to do something for e-bikes and trying to define what they are, who can use them, if you need license plates, the whole bit. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the number of those get whittled down and maybe packaged up to be a little more succinct and few in number, so we can get those addressed. Let's see. The other thing I was going to say with AB 1639, it was an interesting discussion. The author and the author and the sponsor were trying to get some more information about lifeguards, and in particular, what training and who has them, and just kind of gathering information because they are feeling that they should be more directly associated with the emergency response group throughout California, and are trying to identify, where these lifeguards are serving and how they are serving and in what capacity and what they do, and trying to get that data from the different agencies that employ them. And so they're trying to find out, well, how does that affect Rec and Park District? So we had a number of good input on that. I think we'll continue to do that. We had a good conversation with, it was a Zoom conversation again with the author's office and the sponsor. But it's just interesting how, little things you take for granted, how we feel, hey, we got a good program, our lifeguards are great, we have great training and everything else. And someone else has an issue and they feel you're not doing it the right way and you need more information. So it's just like, okay, how do we support things that are good, but then also try not to impact our own program? We're now just going to change things. So we'll see how that evolves over time. I also want to mention, thank you for getting our goals and objectives onto one sheet of paper. I think that's a great way to approach it. I am concerned but not disappointed because I know we have great support on our loss of institutional knowledge, what I just heard. I mean, gosh, there's probably I don't know if it's close to 100 years, but a lot of years of experience that we're going to be losing here this year. So hopefully we can get those people up and running and get that back together, but it's a great opportunity for the new folks. And also want to mention that I don't want to be stating the status of 4 baseball games that I attend each week.
Why?
I think I may be submitting videos just instead. No, but I wanted to say at the opening day for Conejo Valley Little League, I was there, and my son-in-law, who's coaching one of the teams, introduced me to Trace Goebel, I think his last name is, who is the director of fields and making sure the fields are all working right for the Little League group. And so met him, and he was just over the top grateful for the staff that supports the play fields over there, and not just currently, but over time, as he's been doing this for a while. And just said they are so supportive, and everything is addressed when it's needed. The fields look great, whatever, and I know there's a diversity of responsibilities there between the organization and the park district, but couldn't say enough about the staff there and also all the people that they work with. And just were very appreciative of the board and being able to have that facility to use. So I did mention it to Director Mooney personally, but I just wanted the board to hear that the groups that we work with day in and day out through the staff level recognize that it is a privilege to have that piece of dirt that they turned into 4 baseball fields and now entertain our group, just like with Chuck and his group with soccer fields over the years. And I just thought about that group as I see the many dads and moms who are out there every week for these games, and they themselves are volunteering, just like we have volunteers over here for soccer. Like I said, our whole community is volunteering in one capacity or another. So it was just a good reminder of how that plays out over time. Let's see what else. I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Buss.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed opening day because my best friend ran it. So she's on the board for the Conejo Little League. And she said she did have to not do a few things because of the wind, but she said nobody seemed to have noticed. So, but yeah, she always is giving me the update on the baseball fields and how sad she is about the trees that keep getting cut down. Okay, so I attended the master plan Conejo West Park meeting, the property acquisitions meeting. My daughter made a club team for soccer and is practicing now in Oak Park. So I had not been to the Deer Hill Park in, I don't think ever, just that neighborhood. And I noticed when I went to use the restroom when I was walking up that it was kind of cute. They had a little box that had like, I don't know if it was a scavenger hunt or like a trivia for their park system. And it reminded me of we have like the bunny scavenger hunt. And I was wondering, do people only the kids pick those up here, or do we have them out at the parks too? I just thought it was really cute that they had it was like a little flyer box, but well made. And so it looked like it was cute, little paper that the kids could take and then go do. But yeah, I just thought about the bunny that we have.
I am not aware of a scavenger hunt that we have, but a good idea, and I will probably snag that. But we
Well,
have,
yours I'll pull next time to bring it to you so you can
Yeah.
see. I just
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is cute. But I thought we
so
had
we have the rec van. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah,
the
don't we have
coloring
where
book.
people
It's not
would
a
come and
scaven-
get a bunny?
Yeah. So
That's what I was
it's
talking
the
about.
rec van, and we have a coloring book that you go and you get stamps if you
Yes.
attend rec van events. So it's
Okay.
not, when you say scavenger hunt, I think you're at the park.
Oh, I
for
think
a
theirs
different
is a
thing.
scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
thing.
So the rec van, you can go, and in fact, right now, so this is a great plug, right now, because so many people are listening to me right now, right? Right now, there's enough rec van events between now and the Flashlight Egg Hunt that if you go to 4 of them at Flashlight Egg Hunt, you can get your bunny.
Oh, that's so cute.
So, yeah, and it's a nice big bunny, and there's going to be a special little gift for anybody who has a Parker bunny or gets one that night. You're going to get a little Easter basket with a little present in it.
I love that. I wish my kids were little and would let me do that with them, but at 11 and 14, they just won't comply anymore. So community conscious, I went to that as well. So, I will give an update on the soccer team. So we did go to Bakersfield. It was actually, we had the best weather I think you could have ever possibly gotten in Bakersfield, and it was beautiful and green. We lost all games but one, and the A team for 12U lost all their games. So it was not a
You
big.
did better than the 18.
We did. It was not the best for our region representing, but I think the 10U team actually won, the girls team, from what I heard. And then this weekend, Chuck and I will be out at the Pot of Gold tournament doing my volunteer shift, and I'll have 3 games or more, so I'll let you know.
You're really gonna put in lots of hours volunteering. You're breaking my heart.
I'm only doing 2.5. I don't even know. You're probably doing like 30. But yeah, so I'll let you guys know how we do there. And other than that, I have been at a track and field event, which I have not been to, I think, since high school, and I forgot how fun track and field is and like all the different events and watching kids do long jump and shot put and all of it. So, but yeah, that's it. That's all I've been doing besides everything else.
Yes, okay. To build on what Doug was saying, the fields that we have, we're so lucky. 2 weeks ago, we had the first weekend of our Pot of Gold tournament with the 10U, 12U, and 14U boys. 96 teams, players and parents and grandparents from throughout Southern California, coaches, referees, all the volunteers. And the number of times that a referee came up to me or that I talked to a coach or one of the parents said, "Boy, are you guys really lucky. You have beautiful fields out here." You know, they're moving around from one school site to another, and some schools maintain their fields. Most of them don't do a very good job. And to see what we have out there in one single location to be able to put on an event like this, we are really lucky. And people from throughout Southern California are aware of how fortunate we are. So please make sure that everybody involved, not just at Conejo Creek South, but at all of the parks and playfields, are thanked for what they do, and that not just our local community, but people from around really appreciate what's being done there. So I did get to the Bark in the Park last Saturday. Probably good that it started in the morning as opposed, I think in past years it started like late morning or early afternoon, and we probably would have lost a lot of dogs and dog owners if it had been late in the day, because it was already pretty toasty at 10 o'clock in the morning. But fun event. I resisted the temptation to um, either foster a dog or buy a dog or something like that. I did resist, but they have so many cute dogs over there. It was a lot of fun, and to see all the vendors, it was a great event. It was a great event. The We're in our 7th week of the tax program over at the community building at Conejo Creek South. I don't have the exact numbers, but in the first 6.5, 7 weeks, we've done somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 tax returns. Telling somebody, most of the people there are very grateful for what we do. You know, if we tell them they owe a few $100s or a couple $1,000s and they have to pay the IRS, not quite as happy, but most of them are understanding. But it's a great program. We've got great volunteers. As I said, probably 99% of the clients over there are grateful. We have simple returns. We have complex returns. We have to turn a few people away because they want us to do their Schedule C business or something that we can't do. But it's a great program and having a lot of fun with it. And then it's been mentioned the Mardi Gras ball. I did appreciate all the board members who were there. That was really nice. I think Jim heard that his live auction item did very, very well. I believe the final price on that was $1,000, which I was afraid I was going to lose a friend in the process, because the lady who got the winning bid, she obviously wanted it because she just stood there with her bid paddle up. No matter what everyone else was saying, she just kept holding her paddle up there.
I tried.
So yeah, Marissa did pitch in a little bit. I threw in a bid just to sort of keep the bidding going, but $1,000, because I remember a few years ago, it was up for a live auction, and it was a little disappointing that it didn't get very much. So I was glad that
I'm single now.
She must have known.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a great honor to be recognized at the Mardi Gras Ball. It was great to have friends there from the Park District and from my Kiwanis Club, and a lot of people that I know in the community. So I'm glad it's over with, though. I have retired my crown. So thank you.
Well, a couple of things. As I looked at my calendar, I thought, oh, I actually was busy. I couldn't remember anything. Um, so you know, my daughter Anna, I have to have you talk to her because she hates track meets now. Her daughter's doing track, and I did not.
I saw at Georgiana, they were, Lily and her were doing shot put.
Oh, were they? Yeah. Well, she's a pretty good runner. She's got those really long legs. She didn't get it from our side of the family. But Anna came back to me and she goes, "It was so hot, and this is an all-day thing. And all these parents, they have these tents and they're set there. Why don't they just go home?" And anyway,
Yeah, it's like a horse
she'll,
show.
she'll have to get into that. So I was glad to hear that you really loved it. And I'm not as good as a grandparent. I only went to one game. We were at Dos Vientos. My grandson is 7 years old. My son-in-law is the assistant coach. I don't think they know whether they win or lose. So I don't even know. Do they even win or lose? I don't know. They're just kind of playing. They kind of ran around. So, but it was fun. And when my kids did softball and baseball, we were always at either Los Cerritos or Colina, and those would have been owned by the schools. So this was the first time I had been at a park facility that was doing baseball. We're softball, baseball people. Nobody in our family did soccer. This doesn't really have to do necessarily directly, but I gave a few lectures. I have a lecture on the history of Conejo Valley, and in part of it, I talk about the history of CRPD. And at the last one, I gave one at the Museum of Ventura County to their docents, and then I just gave one to a group of people that I know. And they were all confused that we were not part of the city. I mean, this is still like a big deal. And so I had to explain to them what special districts were, and I always have people say to me, this is what made me think of it, "Why are the parks so nice?" And I go, "Because we're not part of the city, so we have our own budget. We don't have to compete for other funding." And so, so that's been kind of fun for me to give these lectures. And then, oh, I put here friend, and I thought, what's that all about? So my friend told me she would invite me to the hike because I do know Marilyn Wells very well. So we'll see if I do get invited. When I was hiking with the group, somebody else came up to me and said, "So when are you available for that hike that Marilyn Wells ran?" And I said, "Well, you know, if I can't make it, don't worry, because I hike with him frequently." "You do?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm on the CRPD board." "You are?" And I go, "Yeah." I mean, you know, it's like I'm not very known. We're not particularly known in the community. So, I mean, I've been hiking with you guys for 2 years. But anyway, so I met with Lauren Gill for my board buddy. We had a very nice walk around the whole Botanic Garden. I told her all about that, and the Botanic Garden is trying to put together some field trips for first, second, and third graders, which I'm highly involved with. I'm not sure why, but anyway, I am. And so, yeah, okay. Anyway.
None of us are surprised.
No. Well, I do know first and second graders very well. So, so we had a really great time. You know, she's very involved in Wildlife Crossing, and so it was perfect to be talking to her about, you know, preservation. And then I met with Andy and Teresa and Raquel and Teresa for our VCSDA, like once a year, I guess, board meeting. So we are trying to plan for the rest of the year. So if any of you have any ideas, be sure to let us know. It's been going really well. So I just kind of want to remind us, though it was on the flyer that the save the date that Raquel sent out. She's responsible for all that good artwork, not me. That for some reason, the legislative days have been moved from May to April, and it's going to be right on the day that we have. So please invite other employees, maybe Costco Rangers, or people that might be interested in hearing Ethan McKinley speak. We've already paid for it, so I would like to have a good showing of this. It's going to be a really good dinner at Harbor Cove, and he's been a long time involved with National Park. I think it'll be a lot of good information to find out, so what's going on with National Park, you know, in the current environment, and what's particularly going on with Channel Islands National Park, and he is the park superintendent. So it might be something our Costco Rangers or anybody else, please let's, you know, we paid for 6, I think. Let's try to have 6 people there. And then I went to a Stagecoach Inn board meeting. Of course, Mardi Gras was very nice. It was nice to see you. And then I met with Ava, who is the new Chumash director, board director, director of the board, I guess. What would you call it? Chairman of the board. She's the chair of the board. So since I'm the museum liaison, we met because they're having some difficulties, and she just wanted to talk to me about what other museums were doing. So I think that does it for me. And anything else there? So any requests for status reports or items for subsequent agendas? No? Any other items from the public online, or are you going to speak, or are you just here because we have pickleball in our?
I didn't hear anything about pickleball.
Oh, it was on our sheet of goals. Yes, so yes, it was on that sheet. So we're not having an executive closed session, so we will adjourn this meeting.
Sweet.